Hi Stampin' friends, tonight we're going to use the Aflutter stamp bundle, which is with a punch rather than dies. And we're also going to use the Artisan Sketched Garden Designer Series paper. I have to read that every time because it's weird. It's like Artisan Sketched Garden. Anyway, this is a black and white paper. I know I probably showed you this whenever it came in the first time, but it has plants in vases, flowers in vases, and it has the background of that one, hold on if I can get a hold of it, that is funny, is just a little starburst print. Then there's this large floral. The back of it is a black and white polka dot, white on black. There's another one that I used, all of these I cut out, and the back of it is a little tiny flower. Then there's a rose floral. The back of it is a black with white flowers. And then there's the poppies. The back of it is a black and white stripe. And then there's all these bouquets. And the back of them is a black, just a foliage look. So also I am dressed very casually because I have on my Shea Gildas Alexander MVP shirt because we were super excited earlier this week when he was selected as the MVP a second time, so back to back. Then next week, the week after next, June, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, June 4th will be my local class. So if you are local to Edmond, Oklahoma, I would love it if you would come to class and see the cards that we're making. One of the cards that that I'm showing you tonight is actually for class. I did this one. I did it thunder themed. So the colors of the thunder are dark blue and orange, or a bright blue and orange. So I used Timid Tiger, and I used the new Hydrangea Hue. Then I also used, as I colored this, I colored it first with the blends in the Hydrangea Hue, and then I went over it with the new shimmer brushes in Hydrangea Hue. And it gives it a real depth, and you can like leave some places without it and it leaves it lighter. So I was real impressed with that. And then we're using the Flutter, and when I colored those, I didn't use the Timid Tiger. I used the Crisp Cantaloupe to color these, and they are a great match with the Timid Tiger, you can see. So kind of like to think of a monarch as we're doing that. And then there's the beautiful ribbon. This is a sentiment from the Aflutter that says fluttering by to say hi. So I used the dies that are from the Winnie the Pooh set that is a North America exclusive. And so it just kind of lightens up this black paper, I think, to have all of these other colors on it like this and kind of focus on color rather than on the black and white paper. So I have several other ideas here to show you, basically finishing up cards, because I did go through and do some coloring already with my blends. So I used, on this one, I used the Berry Burst, the Lemon Lolly, Dark Lemon Lolly, and then the Hydrangea Hue. And then of course our new green, which is the Peaceful Pine. So you can see there on that one. And then we'll do some stamping and some putting together on that one. I did a couple that I didn't necessarily put together with a card. So you can see this one is done in the Crisp Cantaloupe with, again, the Peaceful Pine. So this is just another color of poppy. And this one has the Barely Blush and the Golden Glow with the Peaceful Pine, just to kind of use all of the in colors. Another thing I wanted to talk about with the in colors, or if there's a ribbon, like let's say you have a favorite color, like let's say it is Pool Party, like it's mine. But if you don't have a ribbon to match, sometimes that can get a little frustrating because it's hard to complete your card without the details that you're used to adding. So what I like to do is put it with a color that, let's say that I have a beautiful ribbon. Well, I can do my colors here, use my ribbon, and then this is from one that I plan to do soon, which is the Velvet Meadow. This is the Velvet Meadow embellishments. Let me show you those. They have white, the Barely Blush, and the Berry Burst. Dreamy Flowers, they're called. And that looks really good with this and kind of puts that together. But let's say that's not your colors. You could just focus on these and then use, just the greens, and then use the Peaceful Pines as your accent with Peaceful Pines ribbon. So, just kind of, as long as you put your color, just think about putting your color with one of the new colors, then you'll be able to embellish your card a little better. That's something that I have kind of a problem with. I think, oh, I'm gonna have to find some white ribbon and color it with my blends or something like that to have pool party ribbon. But you don't always have to have pool party ribbon. Even when you're trying to use it with the black and really kind of make it pop, you can still do that by just adding some other color that you do have ribbon for. Here I used Cloud Cover as the bottom of the water here. So that would be another color I could have used to highlight instead if I had wanted to on that. So like for this one, I might just go ahead and finish this off with a Berry Burst stamped sentiment down here, and then that card would be complete. Then I wanted to show you this. Typically I show you, like, I will cut out some kind of sentiment layer, and let's pretend the sentiment is on this. And then what I do with these other pieces is layer them behind, either a circle or a square, to use up these edge pieces from the paper. Does that make sense? Like, I don't like to just throw those away when I cut them out of the paper. But you can, and what this is about is when I don't necessarily buy the matching stamp set, but I love the paper and I think, well, I could make, several bunches of cards out of that with just cutting out the paper. And that's what I did on these. I just cut this out and put it on the card. So like on this, I usually tuck it behind, but what I kind of wanted to show you on this one is that I'm doing it a little different. Like if I were going to use this one here, I would do it this way. And then I just have that edge together. You see what I'm talking about? The edge would just be even with that. I would color this, and then it's focused on this particular image. And to me, it just looks like you did it that way on purpose, or it's kind of just a way to finish that off. So that's not the one I think looks the best. I like doing this one with this poppy, and I think it looks kind of nice to just have it even across the bottom there where that is, and then the poppy is popped up. One more thing on this, I've colored this with my Poppy Parade pens, but I have not used any shimmer brush on this. And so to me, what's going to look really nice, it doesn't even have to be a perfect match. Now, I'm sure Stampin' Up! Didn't say this, but I'm saying it. I think it looks really nice to just use the same, and I'm not sure you'll be able to see the shimmer because when I've seen even Stampin' Up's shimmer, I can hardly see it on video. But what I did was go over, it's a complementary color, and I can't tell, it doesn't really lighten up the blends or make it too light to look like a match. I just thought that one looked fine. And then the Golden Glow I'm gonna put on the center here, which I had done my Golden Glow, and I'm trying to keep it close into the center there. And then just put some shine. I think I might have caught a little bit of shine there, but anyway. So when I'm going to stick this down, I think you could certainly use, and on the next card I will use dimensionals, but I think on this one I'm just going to glue it down. I'm just going to use some glue. So I'm going to put mostly on the part here that I'm certain, and then right along that bottom edge I want it to be really well stuck. And then the thing is, I can put more at the top as I'm gluing it down. I don't want to have any hanging off because I will want to lift this up on a dimensional. So all I'm doing is just putting this as close as I can right along that bottom edge. I don't really want any of the black showing, and I don't really want any overhang of glue. I'm trying not to do that. So there you can see that one is lifting up. You could, conversely, just put a glue dot under there, or you could put a dimensional, and that would make that look like that piece was coming up out of the page where the rest of it wasn't. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the bottom part of that to stick it down. Okay. Then I guess I should lift this up real quick and let you see. This is, you know, putting this card together. What I did was just, this is a regular 5 1/4 by 4. And then I cut down my designer series paper to, this is just our regular green capped mono multi glue. This glue, put in the My Sweet Petunia gun because it uses less, saves me money because it uses less glue, and it also dries more quickly. So this piece is cut down to 5 by 3 3/4. So this piece is the next smaller size. All right, so I'm going to put some dimensionals on this. And here we go. Do this. Grab my Poppy Parade ink pad. Stick this down, maybe right about right there. A little bit of glue there. I can get that off with an adhesive eraser in a minute. And then push that aside there. Just gonna take maybe a happy birthday or something like that and just pop it right on there. I think I already have some, I think this is going to be a mess because I think I already have black on this. Let's see. Oh no, it turned out just fine. I'm going to consider using this triple banner punch and see how that goes. If I can get it in there neatly. Now this is just a scrap that I've cut off. I just started saving these just to try and save some money and you know, save a tree, use all the paper options that we have. And so that just slides right in there. You can see it just almost uses the whole thing. And then I can just put the happy birthday down at the bottom. I could put some white ribbon, black ribbon, just anything to give it a little bit of texture down in here. You could add the white flowers from this one if that appeals. There's just a lot of different choices of things that you can put on to finish this card, but that is my next one. And then now I'm going to do basically the same thing and just turn it the other way. I'm going to go ahead and close this Poppy Parade because I don't have any more plans for it. Try to clean this underside here on there. All right, so now I'm going to stick this on here. That, and you could argue that this one goes this direction, but I think it's fine to leave it like this. And then I was thinking that I would put this just along the edge here. Doesn't even have a, but we'll pretend that we have like a score line right there and that we're following that along the bottom, kind of like we did on this one. And we'll just pretend that we're following it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some, and I forgot what I was saying. I was saying I was going to put some dimensionals under this, but I guess I still can. It might be a good idea to grab the edge of the dimensionals for this bottom edge and just go across like that. And then put a couple up at the top. You don't need too many. One up there, one over there. I think that'll do it. And then put it right along that edge as if it's cut there. And then this one I have kind of going out of the box. That used to be a thing that we used to say. It's out of the box. And then I can't remember if this happy birthday fits in there. It just about does. You'll have to wish me luck because there's no guarantees that I'm going to get it in there quite like we want it, but we'll give it a try. And this is a hydrangea hue with the, of course, with the perennial postage dies. Those are such great dies for so many uses. They're just so cute. And so my plan with this was to layer it up onto the black. That's the next bigger one. You wouldn't have to, but I just thought it was kind of cute to replay it there. And you could go the other way, of course. Just doesn't matter, just whatever you're thinking. I was just trying to kind of do it like that. And then you could add the Berry Burst ribbon, or you could use the hydrangea hue ribbon if that's what you want to accent. And then our hydrangea hue and whatever other colors they are, well, wherever I can find them, there we go. Our glossy dots, that would be so pretty to use those hydrangea hue glossy dots as well. So, you know, there's so many ways you can put your bow that'll be cute. It would be really cute up there as well, and just add it in. So you could also still go in on top of the Berry Burst with maybe the shimmer brush in the Barely Blush. So let's see how that looks. Let's see if we like that. I don't think we'll even be able to tell that, you know, just like we would do with Wink of Stella, which these pretty much are. They even kind of go together like our Wink of Stellas, and you have to squeeze them to get, they've got a little thing here for you to hold on to that I think is really nice because it's kind of got a little bit of a softness to it, and it makes it easy to hold, and it doesn't, well, I have a little thing right here on my thumb because I hold my pencil too tight, so it's not a problem with this because it's kind of protecting your skin so you don't squeeze it really hard. And then, so there you can see, I think the shine on that maybe, I don't know if I'm catching the light or not, but then you could put that together. So let's pretend I've stuck this down. I don't want to waste your time there too much. And then you can put a few randomly in a little triangle of some sort. Maybe put your other blue over here. And that's just kind of sweet, and that makes a little cute card. And it's, you know, a way to use the ones that are along this edge. And then on our last one, what I wanted to show here was just one of the ones that I had cut out. And then I used just my base is our Berry Burst. And you could, of course, emboss that with your Stampin' Cut emboss machine and an embossing folder, but sometimes I think with a lot of pattern, I personally kind of like it better if it's just got a little bit of smoothness somewhere. It just kind of gives your brain a break from looking at all the things. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this around so I can see it, so I do my directions the same. This one is the one that's vertical, so I would want to do it that way as well. But I think putting the black up, you know, too much black, that's kind of a lot of black here with that. But maybe you might love that better. You see what I'm saying? But I liked putting the black in the middle and putting the white background on the sides. And that, to me, that made a lot of good contrast. And then I would put it on there like that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to stick those down. I'm going to start with the black one in the middle so that I can just kind of place it. And I want them, you could do them very straight on there like this and then put your sentiment across the bottom, but I just kind of want them a little bit willy-nilly. So that's what I'm doing. Just going to go ahead and put, it helps me if I go ahead and put my adhesive on all the sides at one time, because then that way I remember what I'm trying to do. Otherwise, I might put the opposite of what I'm going for there. Okay, so there's that one. Then I'm going to put this one kind of this way. And then this one maybe like that. So I'm trying to not make it, I have a problem with that. I'm trying not to make it look super symmetrical. I'm trying to make it look, and I think I want this one to go a little further over. Luckily, if I hurry fast, I can get it scooted over there. So there you can see that. And then this is going to be stamped with our sentiment. Now the sentiment that we have on these butterflies, or whatever it's called, are the, let's see, all Aflutter, excuse me, are the thinking of you today and the you are appreciated. You're so appreciated. The appreciated doesn't quite fit on this one that I chose, but the thinking of you today does. Now I'm having to watch that I don't get the thinking of you on there kind of lopsided, because it does kind of tend to do that. Just gonna go ahead and ink that up a couple of times because I haven't inked this stamp. So it probably would be prettier if I had practiced this ahead of time. I was trying to decide as well, when you put this on here, you can put this at the top, you can put it at the bottom. There's just a lot of choices of where to put your clump of flowers. I do think that the heavier flower should be either at the side or at the top, or, you know, it needs to be to the edge or the bottom. But it doesn't really matter. It's kind of a personal preference on what you do on that. So I'm going to just kind of think about how this is set up here. And I think I'm going to try to put it as far to the top as I can. And then I'll be able to put that at the bottom. I hopefully will not get this on the edge where there's these dies have some great, oh, it turned out great. Have some great edging. I don't know if you can see it. It's got like a little flare edging around this, and so it just looks really cute if I don't accidentally cover it up. So then maybe I'll put that like that, and then put this over here, and that's a great way to finish your card. So let's go ahead and put some dimensionals under this. Where did I set them? Here they are. Just kind of go 1, 2, 3, and that's probably plenty. That's off of there. And then I'm just gonna, I do want to get this straight. And so it is harder when you've got your card like this to get it straight on there. So I try to ignore this paper that I've put on, kind of trying to make it look fun. And I try to put it straight with the top edge here, imagining it being straight with that. And then, you know, moving it in and out of your eyesight kind of just helps you to see whether it looks straight to you. And then you also need to think about getting these side pieces to feel straight. So then maybe you would just put it here at the bottom. You could put it like that. Lots of different choices. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking of right now. So I'm just gonna put a couple of blue dots, dimensionals on here. I think 3 will be plenty. And then let's see. Just kind of do it like that. And then because this one is up on a dimensional as well, I'm just gonna put an extra one under my bottom dimensional, and that will make it super even. Make it kind of feel like it's laying smoother. And then I might put this on here. I might put my hydrangea hue guys on here. You could have colored this golden glow and used the golden glow. That would have been gorgeous. There's just a ton of different choices with this paper. I did want to go ahead and talk about the Olive Flutter stamping that I did. And I'm hoping this turns out, because the first time that I stamped these, let's see, I don't know if you can see that real well, but the first time that I stamped these, they did not line up very well. They lined up kind of crazy. So there's like a lot of paper on this side and hardly any paper on that side. They're just a little bit askew. So, and I had done the thing of, you know, lining them up with this punched image. But what I did was kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I put them on here and then I kind of picked them up and scooched them. They may have moved. I'm kind of intrigued to see. Let's see. Well, it doesn't look like they moved too much. But I did not have this just laying flat. You know, you try to, oh, let's get it as flat as we can. Well, I tried to like pick it up and smush it in the direction that it seemed like it needed to go for the holes. So let's see if that helped at all. I'm gonna go ahead and ink this up. And I thought I would go ahead and show you. This is the one that gets colored. There is one that you can use your ink with in the stamp set, that you just ink with the color you want your butterflies to be. But this one, I wanted to show you the shimmer pens, the shimmer brushes, whatever. And so I thought it might be best to do it this way. So I'm just stamping those on my basic white. And then I'm gonna slide it into my things. Let's see if that did any good. Yes, that made a big difference. The way I had it before, I sat here and played, like you can see me, I sat here trying to get it exactly like I wanted it for quite a while. Like I was like, okay, but now this one is out. Now that one is out. This time it's not like that. I'm able to eyeball it much easier. I'm able to, you know, kind of look and see how I want them and kind of get them in there like that. So to me, it's better. It may not be perfect, but it's much better than it was the first time I did it. So, and what I was trying to tell you that I did with that was I just picked them up and scooched them. Okay, so there's that. Now, that one's still a little bit funny, but I've got these punched out. And so what you might do is use your brush. I want to show you, the reason I'm wanting to show you these is to show you how much color is in the shimmer brush. Because you could say, well, I could just color these with my water painter and then use a Wink of Stella over the top. But this is really intense color. And I think it's better color than you would get if you used a water painter with your inks or your ink refills. And it just really, the shine is great, and you can see how intense the color is there. So let's do another one. I'm trying to think, maybe the pink, maybe the Barely Blush with this one. Oh, that is so light. All right, well, it colors nicely. And if it's not dark enough for you, I've noticed that I've gone back and put a little more color later. I also ran the color down the body of the butterfly on these, just to, because you know, you don't want to leave that part out, don't make it look bland. So I just ran my color down it as well. So there you can see the Barely Blush. I don't know if you can see any shimmer on that or not, but there it is. And then on this one, I think I will use, because you can see here where I use the Crisp Cantaloupe, I think I'll use the Hydrangea Hue on this one. And it is such a nice, I would say it's not quite periwinkle blue. It's almost a truer blue than periwinkle. It's less purple, but it's very pretty and perfect for any hydrangeas you might need to color or match in a photograph for scrapbooking. I'm just kind of daubing the color, but you know, most people like to leave a little bit of white, but I'm kind of the opposite on that. I like to get all the color in. So then there you can see that one, kind of fun. But anyway, that's what I have for you tonight. Several, you know, this is just a regular, this card is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and then it's scored at 5 1/4, and so what that gets you is a card that still isn't the size of a normal card, but it has this little flap so that you can add your sentiment, your image here, and have both kinds of paper showing. Okay, so that's that one. And then this one, what we're doing is using up some scraps, just the same width piece of paper and the same length piece of paper, but just making them kind of askew for some variety. And then you can put your beautiful, I think, Berry Burst ribbon on there. And then this one, basically the same thing. I didn't get my happy birthday stamped. I don't know what I was doing. I was hanging around doing something, I guess. Where did it go? Do I have it? No, I lost it. I did stamp it. I remember doing it. Oh, that was with the red. Okay, well, let's pretend that I did it also on this one and stamped it there. So that'll be really cute with my Berry Burst. Let me go ahead. I can just go ahead and do it. I may make a mess. I may not have a usable one, but I can certainly do it while we're talking about and finishing up. Let's see there. Try to get it somewhat even. There we go, not a problem. So there's where our little happy birthday can be, and then we would probably pick up our bow and pop it there. And then on this one, we did our poppy parade and a poppy image, and we kept that edge even across there just to kind of show a way to use the pieces of the image that go off, because you know this one doesn't go off the paper. I cut all around the whole thing because it was in the center, but some of the images are at the edge here at the bottom, and that allows us to use that bottom edge in a new way. Whereas I mentioned that, you know, I usually just tuck them under like that and have that, you know, have it be tucked under the die cut, whereas this, you put it on top. And then finally, I did this one where I had just cut out the image and used 2 of the papers, and the idea was to use some of the new things that we have ribbons to match and everything, so that you can have all the embellishment that you want with your favorite color, which mine is Pool Party. So that was the Aflutter punch bundle and the Artisan Sketched Garden Designer Series paper. Shimmer brushes are Stampin' Up, Margaret. They're brand new. They weren't out when the catalog first came out, but they're just in the new in colors. So they don't have the shimmer brushes in the entire lineup, but all of these new in colors have them. So the Crisp Cantaloupe, Barely Blush, Peaceful Pine, Golden Glow, and Hydrangea Hue are the colors that they are in. I appreciate you all watching, and I hope that you have a great week.